So, Tolu, what is the time in your country? You have to unmute.
It's also 10:35. Sivam and I both live in Canada.
It's AM,
Yeah, AM, 10:35 AM.
almost same like United States.
Yeah. Yeah, depending on where in the
EST.
States. Yeah,
Yeah.
EST. Yeah.
Are you in the Caribbean zone?
No, I'm in
Are you?
Canada.
You're in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay. Eastern Standard Time. On Toronto.
Yeah, right outside Toronto. Yes. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, friends. Welcome to today's webinar, where we will be exploring the topic, are we labeling our children? Understanding the special needs and helping them. So my name is Tola Jayashree, and I'm your host and Assistant Secretary of Voice of Men's 360. I'm also a registered social worker, and it is my great pleasure to host this webinar today. Thank you, Voice of Men's 360, and the team for giving me this opportunity. We hold these weekly webinars to create awareness on topics such as this, with the hopes of sharing valuable information with our community, as we believe will be useful in some ways. Before I introduce our special guest today, I want to give you a brief introduction about Voice of Men 360. Voice of Men 360 is a nonprofit organization founded in 2020 in Canada, and it's based in Toronto, Canada. Voice of Men 360 organization was born out of seeing the tremendous needs of boys and men in society. So Voice of Men stepped up to support and help them in many areas of their lives. We are part of International Men's Day, which is a global organization. International Men's Day is based on 6 pillars, which has to do with the overall well-being of boys and men. It has been around for 21 years and is celebrated in nearly 90 countries. These countries join together to do various activities on a regular basis. As mentioned earlier, today's webinar topic is, are we labeling our children? Understanding the special needs and helping them. And this is a very timely subject as we celebrate April as Autism Awareness Month. Our special guest speaker is Dr. Jayashree Kadambi. I hope I didn't mess that up. And she is a special educator and a child advocate from Chennai, India. She's a dedicated child advocate with a solid focus on the individual needs of children with special needs. She is also a very kind-hearted and empathetic professional who is flexible and accommodating in the design and implementation of inspiring hands-on lessons, employing wide-ranging manipulative and IEPs, which I believe is individualized education plans, to enhance students' achievements. She is a recipient of several awards and has recently received the honorary doctorate from World Human Rights Protection Commission in social service and special education. She has received national and international recognitions on the occasion of International Women's Day. She has also been appointed as a committee member of the United Nations Economic and Social Council under Gender Equality, Women, and Child Protection. So I would like to welcome Dr. Jayashree. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's such a vibrant introduction, I would say. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. And I thank Shivam Velaidam for having me here on this forum. It was such a surprise. The moment, we got connected, and immediately he said, why don't you come and give he said, why don't you become a member of. I was so overwhelmed when he approached me. I said, what am I supposed to do? Then he said, we want you to come as a speaker. I said, wow, okay. Then I thought, okay, this is the need of the hour. And as I'm a special educator, I said, let us do a webinar on this special needs, because, of course, it is gaining momentum nowadays, but still it needs more. It's not enough. As far as children are concerned, in any way, it's not enough. Whatever we have is still not sufficient. It has to be satisfied for us to create a beautiful and peaceful world in the future. So, thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you for being here. And it sounds like you are doing great work in India and around the world. And I just want to learn a bit more. I believe we would all like to learn a bit more about you. Can you just take me back to any experiences in your childhood or adolescent or as a young lady that you can say led you down this path of pursuing special education and being a child advocate?
Sure. Actually, to be frank, from my childhood till today, I never had the pressure of my parents. They gave me entire freedom of what I should be doing in my life. So I was never pressurized. Of course, my childhood was a little bit harsh. I was grown up as a very strict. I mean, in a very strict and orthodox atmosphere, like following the culture and tradition, and you know but of course, as a girl, they gave me the freedom. They never discriminated that because I'm a girl I'm not supposed to go out, all that stuff. So I had that kind of a beautiful freedom, and I got a wonderful education, because of which I'm here today. The command in my language, and I can speak about six languages, Indian languages. So, you know, all these things came to me because of my education. So, childhood was a mixture of harshness and kindness. My father has always been my guiding light, support emotionally and mentally, everything. So I thank him and my, all my people who have supported me in my childhood for whatever I'm here today. But I never graduated when I started approaching towards my degree. I never chose anything related to education. Actually, I wanted to I wanted to go in the field of hotel management. That was my unlike others who always opted for the engineering degree or medical medicine, you know, that was a typical thought of any family in India in those days. Either if it is a boy, they used to go into engineering. If it's a girl, they used to go into medicine. Something like that. That myth was always there. So, but in my family, it was totally as my family. This is my close circle. My parents, my brother, myself. So I had the whole freedom. So I wanted to do hotel management. I did try my level best, but of course I did not put in full effort. It's the I should take blame on myself, because if I had worked hard, probably I could have got into that field at that moment. But I'm totally happy. And because, did not get through that entrance, I was forced to join BS in chemistry. So I joined, I took up my degree, I finished my degree. So after that, also, I never entered the field of education. Then I again, in 1999, 98, 99, computers was in a boom. Then we had this millennium year, right? 2000 was a millennium year. So like any other parent, I was also encouraged to take up computers, because they said, oh, you should learn something in computers. So I did take up that part. So I did a 3-year diploma in an institute called as NIIT. So I finished that. But however, my life was like a roller coaster. It took me into various directions. So after that, when I got married, I relocated to US and all that. So but then how I entered into special education is totally a miracle still, because even after my marriage, my husband used to always, because I was working, I was a busy bee in India. Like before my marriage, I was very busy. So to encourage that part of me, he said, let us keep a play school, let us do something. I said, no, it's so difficult for me to manage my own children, so how am I going to manage others? It's not possible. But today, destiny has got me to this. So that is again a big story. It is a very lengthy one, so I don't want to discuss too much here, because today the topic is about these children, how they want to learn, not about myself. So I would. It is a beautiful journey. How it is a miraculous journey. That's what I will say. How I got here. from an IT professional to a special educator. So it is totally a miracle. Many people came into this in between. They have supported me. I would say, in short, I would say my child is one of my guiding light. Because of him, I'm in this spot. Because of him, I learned so many things. My child was a slower learner. Now he's completing 12th. He's going to complete 12th in mainstream. That's a different journey, beautiful journey. So probably he has guided me in different ways, giving the message that you're born to do this, or you're supposed to do this. So I always say children are my guiding light. They teach me more than I teach them, because of them only I'm here. Whatever I'm teaching, I learn from them. They convey the message that I want this, so I'm here. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, wow. So it sounds like there was a lot of different people that shaped and influenced you, including your father, your husband
Yes.
talking about maybe opening up some sort of daycare type thing, and then your own son that you mentioned had some a bit of a learning disability, and so you were shaped along the way to finding this path. That's amazing.
Yes, definitely.
Can you tell me more about the special needs that you come across in your profession?
Sure. See, special needs are of various types. You know, the first thing is, this month being the Autism Awareness Month. Yeah, one is children with autism. Then we have something called as Down syndrome. Then we have children with learning difficulties, that is dyslexia, dyscalculia, and so many things. They have all these are basically some kind of a neurological disorder. People mistake or misunderstand to be them as a disease. It's not a disease. It is a neurological disorder which has no cure. Basically, you have to live with it. Whatever it's like the parts of your body. You have this kind of structure. You live with it. Okay, but see, now we have a physical body, right? So yes, your if a person is on the heavier side, or very underweight or something like that, that is their structure, but they can rebuild it by giving it some shape, right? Similarly, this also is a condition where people have to live with it, but it can be shaped when it is identified at the right time. Basically, that's what they say. Early intervention is very important, especially when a child reaches 2.5 years or 3 years. If you find any kind of milestone delays, you know, just keep observing. Don't panic. So that is, you have to observe your child very closely. Start observing them, and uh, be more uh, you know think more in a wide on a wider perspective. uh, the first thing I would like to tell all the parents is, sometimes we get influenced by the external atmosphere, like our family members, or all some elders in the family, or anybody. They will come and they'll say, oh, something is wrong with your child. They will you know scare the parents. So but your child better, so observe. Make a thorough log of it. And then don't compare it with some child who's very smart, or don't do that. Because first thing is, I would like to tell this to everybody: as a human being, nobody is perfect. Everybody is. Now show me one person, even the best achiever in the world, who has not done any mistake. I'm sure all the achievers have done mistakes, and then only they have come to this spot. Without any mistakes, nobody can learn. But it can, there are two things. When a person is doing some mistake, if somebody is trying to pull you down, then it depends on how they take that forward. Grow with the mistakes, don't be afraid of it. So the first thing is, a child with special needs, to talk specifically about autism, right? These children, normally, they may not be very socially active. That is, even at home also, you may not find them giving you eye contact. They may be having, they show some kind of a fear to meet people. They need lot of security. And until a child reaches 2.5 or 3 years, these signs may not be visible, because the child grows normally. Sometimes even the walking and all the milestones will be normal, and then suddenly when the child is supposed to get into that social atmosphere, like let us say around 2.5 years to 3 years old, that is when, you know, there may be changes. Like for example, the child may have difficulties, or may not be interested, not even difficulties, it may not be interested in even grabbing a toy. We can imagine a 3-year old, right, how they'll be active, and they want to explore, they'll be grabbing the toys and playing with it, pretend play. But you cannot expect a child with autism or ASD, autism spectrum disorder, to have these qualities of interacting or pretend play and things like that. They will lack verbal communication, basically. Okay, so that is why it is important for a parent, in fact both parents, mother and father, should observe the child, how their mannerism is, whether how many words they are, just get more details about your own child. And once you contact your pediatrician, right, the child's pediatrician. First take consultation, and then this is the main part that I want to convey, which is very challenging. Even for me, once upon a time, when I learned that my child has learning difficulties, it took me time to accept. That acceptance is the first thing. You know, it is if a parent is accepting wholeheartedly, immediately, it makes the life easier. Let me tell you, because even let me give you a small example. Even in our real life, let us say, nowadays parents aim that their child has to go into IIT or IIM, become a graduate of IIT and all that. So, but they don't see the child in them. There is so much of pressure on the child. They want, unfortunately, many parents, they bring in their past into the child. Okay, I have not achieved as a child in all these fields, I want to see that in my child, which is a very wrong thing. So what happens is, even if the child is having some kind of a challenge, they ignore that and they don't accept it. you know they say, oh, my child is very normal, what is wrong with him, he looks perfect. See, one more thing is, a child with autism, unless you observe closely, nobody, any layman will not be able to identify that this child is autistic, unless you see that the child is flapping the hands or clapping inappropriately. All these are symptoms of a child with autism. Okay, otherwise you will not, they are a normal person, normal individual. You cannot identify at all. It is very difficult unless somebody tells you, because the first thing is, you will not see many children in a social atmosphere at all. So unless the parent or the caregiver tells that this child has a problem, then only you can understand, you can really yeah, visualize that, oh, this child has really a problem. Otherwise it is very difficult to identify a child with autism. It is, they look normal actually. Okay, so this is about autism. And then talking about a little bit about dyslexia, I also deal with children with learning difficulties. This is another neurological disorder where the child has difficulties with reading and writing. They might see the letters invertedly, like for example, they read B as D and P as Q, something like that. So, and if you ask a child with severe dyslexia to read, for them the letters will be dancing in motion. it, but unfortunately, whoever is looking at the child, they'll say, oh, what is this, you're not even able to read this, are you so dumb? All these words come out of the parent or whoever it is, because they are under pressure. And yes, there are so many things. It's a stressful moment also for whoever is taking care of these children. But I would say acceptance is the key. First accept it. Even child with autism, they have challenges in expressing themselves, their emotions. it is a trauma, it is a very difficult thing for a child. But what they want, autism, we say A for autism, right? Autism is for acceptance, A for acceptance, right? And then autism, AU. So the letter U denotes understand me. So accept and understand me is what they are saying. So we should have the broad mindedness to accept them in a very you know generous manner. So this is what is a little bit about autism, and it's an ocean. Actually, I can keep talking, but I'm sure you have lots to ask me, so
So
I'll stop here.
there's quite a bit, I heard from you there. As a mother myself, actually, you're right. Learning who your child is, paying attention. My son actually has some language delay. So we did observe that. He wasn't that social. So we actually went through very similar to what you described. We talked to our family doctor who referred us to a pediatrician who referred us to specialist service. In the end, my son got caught up and he's very social now, but we went through some of that path. So as you were talking to me, is ringing a bell. And this is the one thing I can't emphasize enough to people: know your child, pay attention to your child, read up
Yes,
on developmental milestones, what is going on. Early intervention is key, so that they can start to get the speech therapy, so they can start to, work with the developmental pediatrician. And so what you're saying is very accurate. And I was listening to you, even though I'm here in Canada, and you're in India, right? Correct?
yes, yes.
It's very similar steps that we would take here. So thank you for talking about that. So then, and you mentioned about dyslexia and how it is a more of a learning disability and what it looks like. So thank you for sharing. I find oftentimes when people are very passionate about something, it's very hard to stop talking about it. So this is
Yes, yes. It
I
is
know
not
you
only
were
about
going.
passion, because whenever we get the opportunity, because all these webinars are to create awareness, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
as I said, momentum is picking up, but it still needs more. So parents have to be the best advocate. That's what I will tell. Parents have to be very supportive. Don't demean your child. Don't ignore because they have difficulties. We should always go to our past. So also, think we also went through many difficulties and are at a certain spot. So why ignore that part? And of course, your child is a part of you, right? It's your blood after all. So don't ignore that. That's what I'll say.
So you mentioned dyslexia, and then I believe you mentioned dyscalculia, which I believe is the math one when they struggle with math. Can you
Yes.
tell us why children are having learning difficulties?
Actually, see, there is the research is still going on. Why children are having, or why a person, what is the cause for this autism or any kind of learning difficulty? There is no particular reason for it, because, as I said, it's a neurological disorder. It can be genetical, or it can be, due to the kind of, food that a parent is having, the mother is having, or the kind of stress or the atmosphere that she has had during her pregnancy. These are all only a possibility, but there is no actual reason that is stated. Various organizations have been doing research on this, but still there is no answer to why. Some people are saying that, because my son's child was vaccinated and this vaccination caused this. Until then, my child was, I have seen cases like that. The child used to be very normal, all the, milestones were normal, and suddenly, this thing hit them. So that also I have seen. So we don't know now, because of that even some vaccinations have been avoided, or they have been removed from the, even the US, the list of vaccines that have been given to a child. Right now they have, I think, reduced certain things, even in the number of, or the kind of vaccines that they are giving, because of all these, the American Health Association, right? So I think they have made some changes in that, but as of now there is no concrete reason for why a child has difficulties. But they have to live with it. They have to first thing is the people around them have to accept it wholeheartedly and encourage them, because once you accept and encourage, as you said, the child can blossom, the person can blossom, because especially child with autism, they need a good community, because they are socially very what to say, they are very shy,
Struggle socially, yeah.
right? So because of that, we have to encourage them by creating groups for them, because at least a child with dyslexia or learning difficulties, they are quite normal, they're like a neurotypical child, but only the difference is they have some learning difficulties which still they can cope up and flourish in life. But a child with autism has more challenges because of all these hindrances. Even a slight sound can be a hindrance for them. Okay, even a loud noise like a speaker or a train sound can annoy them. So uh, when you're finding out all these challenges at an early stage, then encourage them in a way where they can become independent, because otherwise handling a child who's just entered the adolescence is going to be very challenging. How will you even change the if a child is not potty trained at the right time, how will you even try to change the diaper and of an adolescent? I have seen people still having that issue, because uh, especially child with autism, they tend to put on weight quickly because of these all these challenges. They have, the first thing is their digestive system, they have a very poor digestive system, their immunity is very low. Okay, so you normally, children with special needs and autism, their immunity is very low. So actually the parents have to follow a certain diet. Sometimes they even advise the CFG, diet, that is casein free, gluten free diet, because yeah, if you give a chocolate to the child, that makes it hyper. It's going to increase the tantrum of the child. Something might trigger, the chocolate might trigger some kind of emotion, and they'll start throwing different tantrums. Or a child with autism, if you are not handling the child with love and care, some children also end up getting seizures. So these are the things that we have to be very careful in handling, especially when the child is going to enter adolescence. The weight management, so all these things, any child for that matter, we generally say, right, mold the child when your child is between 3 and 7 or 0 to 7, because they are like clay. The same concept applies even with a child with special needs, because we have to understand that they are also a human being, they are also an individual like us. It is just that they have the difficulty of expressing themselves. So here, that you have to make, as a caregiver or as a parent, you have to make it easier for them to express. So you have to give the trust that I am there for you, don't worry. So that is that assurance you have to keep giving them all the time. It's not just one day. If the child is not going to, you cannot expect results or things to happen miraculously. When I say miraculously, means that miraculously will happen only after all the hard work.
Thank you.
You should be the pillar for the child, you should be the support, create a community for the child, so that the child is there in an atmosphere where he or she belongs. That belonging is very important. Only then that development also will happen, that miracles will happen. There are children, we say child gifted child with high functional autistic child, right? These their brain is structured in a different way, actually. So they are when you're encouraging them in the right way, they are able to perform so many things. I've had one child, I've known one child who actually made composed different ragas in the music, in the classical music. It was so nice to hear, and being applauded by the renowned musicians. So there are so many instances, and I
Have
have
different
known.
giftings. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
different
gifted
giftings and
child.
abilities.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I have known a child who has also appeared in the Olympics and finished a triathlon. So again, it depends. The parent who has done that, hats off to them, because they have encouraged the child. They have identified what the child is interested in. Probably the child may be very talented as an artist.
Mhm.
Some child maybe, the child that I was talking about, he is good in calendar also. Remembering the dates, and so encourage that child in that way. We have had great mathematician in India, Ramanujam. He was a child with special needs, but he became a great scientist, a mathematician, right?
Mhm.
And then Einstein, Albert Einstein, they're all typical examples of dyslexia, right? Learning difficulties. But how did they all, come to that invention? Because their parents had given them that freedom and accepted. Even now, when we go back to the history of Albert Einstein, we see that letter written by his mom, right? When he was in the school, I think she received a letter saying that your child does not fit in this school.
Mhm.
So if that letter was revealed to Einstein at that time, he wouldn't have been there today for us.
Exactly. Thank
So
you.
yes,
Sorry, no, and I do appreciate that because I'm just being mindful of the time, and I want to ask you a few more questions so that way we can just make sure we learn more. But I definitely appreciate what you're sharing with us. Is basically just because your child has intellectual disability or a learning disability, or they're on the spectrum or any type, or even like a Down syndrome, does not mean that you have to limit their lives. That you can still look at them and see what are the potentials and make sure that you give them all the opportunities that you can afford them. So thank you for saying that and sharing that with us. Can you just tell me a bit more, since you're into education, what's the difference between mainstream education and special education?
see, actually, mainstream, it is, uh, as all of us know, it is a conventional way of learning. Like, you have a textbook, a curriculum, you know and then the teacher has a board, and nowadays we have the smart board, right? So in a mainstream, mainly you will find 40 to 50 students, at least in India, as far as I know. But I think in the US we'll have around 30 students probably. And I think more at the high school level you'll have many students at the high school level. But there you will, in the mainstream, obviously you'll not get that one-on-one attention. And what I have seen is, in a mainstream, um, only the top 10 will be given the attention. Unfortunately, it is very sad to say that sometimes, whoever is, the teachers have their own, sometimes they have their, because the child is very, always guess scoring 100 out of 100. But how they get that 100 out of 100 is, the child is forced to, it is the Indian education system, sometimes we have to do the rote learning. So you just by heart the answers and write. But of course, in the US, the system is totally different. From kindergarten to primary, you have the freedom of blossoming yourself, no pressure, and then in middle school, when you come to the middle school, that things are different, right? But here it is a different scenario. However, when you talk about mainstream, yes, the scenario remains the same. Children don't get one-on-one attention. They are given the option, if you want to go into the gifted program, you can move on to the gifted program, or people go into competitive exams and things like that. Of course, it gets more, the child feels more pressurized in but I feel the entire, instead of comparing what is special education and the mainstream, I would say the entire education system has to change, because a child is a child. Let the child be a child. Why are you putting so much of pressure? At least here, I have seen some schools where the child gets coaching for IIT when they are in grade 5. I was like astonished to see that a child who's just exploring and wants to be in sports or music or whatever. Why are you just containing the child into that education system, which is very strict and doesn't give you any freedom? So ultimately, what happens when the child is pressurized with such a such an academic pressure, when they are actually supposed to take the pressure, when is the age to take pressure? Can you answer me? When is the right age when a child has to actually take the pressure of academics? Can you just, any
I
one
would
of you?
probably say once they hit like maybe grade 10, 11, maybe.
Exactly, exactly. So until then, why are you not letting the child see? Because when you say that when the child reaches grade 10, you let the child choose what, you know, what subject or which field or which area they want to go into, right? That is the time when they select the subject, right? Which is going to continue until their degree. Am I right? So why are you the child has not at all explored. So the parents decide that this is what my child should become. But when they reach 10th grade, so many drop out because of this pressure. They cannot, the reason is because they have not exposed to the real life scenario, always going to this class, that class. Then where did they get the exposure to the real life scenario to handle the tough situations where, they actually go through, because of other, it is not only the academics. The child might score 100 out of 100 and get full marks. For what? To make the parents happy?
So
So
yeah, sorry.
yeah, so the thing is that education system itself has to change. Sometimes I feel nowadays, we as special educators are trying to get the inclusion in mainstream schools, because first thing is, as I said earlier, acceptance. See, these children with special needs need acceptance. you know we have to first accept that they are also human beings like us, and they need to be included in the society. There is God has, I would say, these are the best children, God's own children given to us. If any parent has a child with autism or any kind of special needs, you should be blessed, because I have done this. I've studied the world of education also. That is a spiritual education, actually, where it says that the child chooses you as a parent or a teacher. You are the chosen one. So when the child enters your womb as a fetus, that time itself the child has chosen you as a mother, because it knows that you can bear the difficulties. You will be the right person to take care of that child. So that acceptance, wherever you go, accept, include the children. See, unfortunately, what happens when we try to include children with special needs in the mainstream, children are actually so beautifully blending with each other. Have you observed that?
Yeah.
They can blend, but who are the main culprits? Who are the main culprits here, who are coming and spoiling the show? Who are they?
But the adults that are seeing that they need to
Adults,
be fed.
exactly. So the adults are the one who are the criminal minded people. I'm so sorry to use this harsh word, but you know, but that is what it is. They say, oh, the child has some problem, man. Why are you going to the child? You'll also get that problem. you know but that is where there is a famous Hindi movie, actually, which is say Tare Zamin Par. I don't know if you have seen that. If you even if you don't understand the language, you can watch it with subtitles. It has a beautiful message. The child who's autistic should be accepted everywhere, should be given that love and encouragement, instead of being beaten every time. Oh, you know what, they are shamed everywhere. The shaming is done in the class also. When the child is not able to read, this child is not able, the entire class will laugh at them. So what do you think? Do you think these, because they are not able to talk, they don't feel humiliated? What do you think?
Of course they do. They are human beings.
They are humans, right? They
They
are
have
humans.
feelings.
See,
Yeah.
if I fall down on the street, instead of someone helping me, if they come and surround me, how you feel? So
Yeah,
you
you're
feel
gonna.
humiliated. Yeah, you feel humiliated, right? I mean, so that's the same scenario. We all forget that they are also human beings carrying the same emotions just like us. So they don't have different emotions. If the child of a 10-year-old child, if the child has autism, he has the same emotions like a neurotypical child of that same age. There
I
is no
just
difference.
Right. I just know that if they are having issues with language or speech, they may just have a harder time expressing the emotions, but
Yes,
they still
but
feel it.
they
Yes.
feel we all think that they have a harder time expressing emotions, but here I would interrupt and say that actually if you're able to observe your child or as a teacher or a parent very minutely, you know, their silence itself will convey you so many things. How many times have we gone every day, taken 10 minutes of a silent break without talking or without doing anything? Just try that. Just be silent without doing anything. Do nothing. Just take a 10-minute break. Be silent. Don't talk to anybody. You know? And one more tip I want to give to all of the viewers who are watching me today here is observe your child and compare it with one plant or a tree. Choose a tree or a plant. Okay, you might have something near your house or even at your home itself. When you're observing, when you're sowing the seed, right? You do you immediately keep it in the bright sun immediately when the seed is just sown in the soil? What do you do?
Well, you water it.
No, before even watering. Yes, watering is a must. But before even watering, do you place it directly in the sunlight?
No, 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 no.
So
You
what is
bury
the
it.
process?
Pardon?
What is the
If you want to
process?
plant a seed, well, don't you normally bury it underground and then you put the seed
Exactly.
on, and then you water it and
So
then you watch it grow and you make sure you nurture it?
yes. So the same process applies for any human being also. It is not only child with special needs. Okay. So when you start up, observing that plant, you will see that the plant is answering you so many things. Just go to one plant, choose one plant. Even probably all of you who are here can just try this exercise for the sake of it. Try for 1 week. Just choose a plant. Go talk to that. Observe every vein of that. Even if the minute veins of a leaf, what is the shape of the root? What is the texture of the bark, trunk, right? What is the color of the leaf? Whether it was light green in color, tomorrow, what is the color of it? So, when you start observing, you will find so many beautiful answers as to how you can, nurture your child. Take care of your child like a delicate plant, because when we are saying that your seed is sown in the buried in the soil, and then slowly when it sprouts and germinates, then after a certain point only we bring it to the bright sun. So similarly the child has to go through a process. So a child, whether it is a child with special needs or a neurotypical child, it doesn't matter. Care, give them a lot of care and love. Observe them, especially a child with special needs. Observe every vein of your child. Know your child properly. Then it makes it easier because you become the advocate. You know, then I used to go to, any kind of specialist or anything. I used to know my child. Because even before the therapist or whoever says, I know my child, come on, it was not new to me. So I could defend my child very easily. Here, what happens? The acceptance is not there. So the parents are getting influenced by the external atmosphere very easily because they have not observed their child. When you're close to your child, the child is conveying so many things to you. This is what I want. So then you tell the doctor, this is what my child is. This is what it is. If you can give me the guidance accordingly, I can try. Sometimes how many people, shed money on these therapies, that many people don't. If the parent is actually spending time reading stories with the child every day, because that is where they listen and learn verbally. Sometimes miracles happen, they start telling words. But the parents have, they do not have that much of patience, because they are probably the only one taking care of the child, or maybe they have another sibling to take care of, a child to take care of. That pressure is there, that there is no undivided attention for this child. So what happens that this child who has challenge gets ignored, and then they will think, okay, at least another child is a neurotypical, let me concentrate on that. So this child is growing. Sometimes, to make their life easier, they give their gadgets to them. Gadgets can be used productively only if you are using it very intelligently, not making use of them as your tool of convenience. You know what I mean? Just to get away from them or escaping the scenario, You cannot say that, okay, watch TV. Then what happens? The child, again, I'm reiterating on this point. Any child is normal. They have the same feelings. So any child who's aging between 3 to 7 or 3 to 14, they will absorb and learn. So ultimately, if the child is exposed to television, the child will learn whatever language is in there in the television. So probably you will even find children who have developed behavioral issues at that time.
Thank you so much. I
So
do.
there is no
Yeah.
physical activity. They need physical activity. Definitely, I would insist this to at least the parents should spend by taking the child for a walk at least for 30 minutes every day. If you are not able to go, at least go have a child care. Who can who nanny or somebody who can assist them. So this is what, as I said, it's an ocean. So you'll have lots to.
Thank you. No, there's so much that you've shared with us. And I feel like our time is actually pretty much up, but I feel like this is not even enough time to cover everything that one needs to know when it comes to having children with special needs. But the key takeaway is know your child, spend time with them, understand that they do have emotions and feelings. And at the same time, like dedicate time to teaching them, reading with them, taking them out for walks. Don't just give them a tablet because, oh, well, they don't need this. They don't need my attention. They don't whatever. So thank you so much for taking your time to speak to us. Now, I just want to invite, do we have any questions from
Now I have
whether,
before that one more,
yeah.
just one point to say about the
Okay.
bullying, which I didn't cover.
Yes,
Actually.
yes, okay.
Yes, that's a very important thing. Bullying happens no matter what kind of child they are. So, but these children, they are even more targeted. They are because of their difficulties, people bully them, and that already they are having social shyness. But on top of that, these children are being bullied, and even for boys also, because when they reach their teenage or something, we have to remember that whether it is a boy or a girl, they go through the same hormonal changes just like any other person. So bullying is a very how to deal with these things is a big issue. So what I would say is, from the early age, prepare your child. No, as I said, know your child. That is one important thing. But prepare your child that these are the, make them more comfortable at a social setting also. Slowly take them, prepare them, create a community, so they will blend. And as I said, they observe and also learn many things. So give them a good atmosphere where they can observe good things, and also protect themselves. You should, that is why physical fitness is very important. We can, child with autism, for them swimming is very easy, because there is no need of social interaction. Okay, it is one on one. So the child will not feel awkward or anything to express themselves. So you can even put them in a private swimming classes, because that will give you a overall build up of the body. That is very important, so that they can know how to manage their own emotions and needs. And it also becomes easier for the parents to handle a child with special needs at a teenage level, because if you don't give them an appropriate physical fitness, they will end up having overweight, obesity, and things like that. So that will lead even more to having severe medications and depression, all these things. So physical fitness should be a part of their routine every day, however the child is, however challenging it is for the child. Include that at a very early age itself. If you are finding the symptoms, give them the early interventions, including the physical fitness, so that this will make them emotionally stronger. So they will know how to, where to express those. So teach them, like in the US, at a kindergarten level itself, the child is taught, if you have any emergency, call 911. So something like that, give this child also something basics. Okay, if you have this problem, you can communicate through your sign language, you can communicate through writing, whatever is convenient for the child to understand. Communicate in a way where they can understand, be in their shoes. Don't think of what you can do for, don't see what they want, and then communicate in a way where they can understand, not what is easy for us. No, You have to create a method where the child can understand, not what is easy for us, just saying something and going writing on the board. That is the easiest thing for me. So then
Tailoring things to your child's needs, understanding your child's
yes,
and being
I'm
supportive.
not able to hear you fully.
Oh, hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah.
Tailoring things to your child's needs and understanding your child's needs is
Yes.
basically what you're saying. So Sivam, do we have any questions from Facebook or any? Oh, okay, we do have someone here. Tip Chan. Hi, how are you today?
Hi, Tulu. How are you doing?
Thank you. You have a question?
Yes, I do. I have a question for Dr. Jayashree. Uh,
Yes.
First of all, I want to thank her for her wonderful insights. We
Thank you.
really appreciate it. And my question basically is regarding such insights, are there any social programs that parents can access to have this information made available to them?
Yes. See, first thing is now this is one more important thing that I want to tell. See, there is a parental guide, parental rights guide in every country or every district. So there are websites where you can download and read these things, and there are several parental groups also that have been created nowadays. So sometimes the school also has the parent group for these kids separately. It depends on which part of the which part are you from?
I'm in Canada too, in Toronto.
Ah, okay. So there, it's almost similar like US. So you will have the parents have to know their rights. That is very important. So earlier, I'm talking about even 7 or 8 years back. They used to give a, when you're signing up for the special needs program, they used to give a booklet which has the rights. But unfortunately, we all trust so much, we all trust the system so much that we blindly say, we don't even take time to read that book, including myself. I was a very new parent at that time, when my child had the learning difficulties. So I was totally a new parent. So it was then I realized that I have to read. Then I read each and every point. Now also I can remember every law that is there in the state. So this is an important thing that each and every parent should know. They should know the parental rights. Even in here in India, now the special education has 21. The Act has 21 laws that have been approved. So the parents should know what are the laws, what my child is eligible for under that Act. So there are, if you go to the websites, you will get, if you need any help, please reach out to me. I can always share the links if you need them. And as far as the groups are concerned for the community, there are so many parent groups. You can, even on Facebook also, we can look for children with special needs. There are so many groups that have been created now. The technology, as I said, we have to use it very intelligently. For these things, we can definitely use the technology if you're, you know, comfortable with it.
Okay, thank you. I have a second question.
Yes.
Do you think that in high school, for example, this idea of the perception that we have about autism and dyslexia and whatnot, do you think there should be a part of the curriculum assigned to what you've explained to us, so that even at that age, children growing up would have an idea of what all these disabilities are about and would be able better to cope with it when they become adults?
You mean to say including this in a part of a regular curriculum? Is that what you're
Yes,
asking?
yes.
Yes, if it is not there, definitely I would say probably at a high school level, when children reach grade 9, they can include a part of this in their biology or whatever,
Yeah,
so
I
that
think,
children can begin to understand what these. But nowadays there are so many different spectrums where children can go into and take up their career. They have special education itself as a career now. When they finish, of course, that happens only at a later stage in the degree level. But yes, as far as if it is not been included in the curriculum, definitely it should be a part of the curriculum. so that children can accept it or even take up this one as their future education. So
Exactly.
now instead of even in the US at grade 8, most of the children have made their choices of what they're going to study. Now, which subject they're going to choose in when they come to their undergraduation, right? So from 9 to 12, that is what they'll concentrate on. So if they have make this an option even at the 8th grade, I would say, depending on the school districts, depending on which country they are from. If you say India, I would say ninth grade is fine. But in the US, 8th grade itself, children have opted for, depending on their APs and things like that, they have opted for the subjects from grade 9 to grade 12. So it depends again on the country to country, which what law says according to their place. So definitely it
Okay.
should be included. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you for the questions. Beautiful
You're
questions.
There
welcome.
are actually, just to answer your question, Dipchand, there are actually lots of organizations here in Canada and Ontario that do work with people with special needs. A lot of them are actually funded by the government, so we will be
Right.
sure to list them on our website, okay? So thank you very much, Dr. Jayashree, for joining us again. I just have a few more announcements to make before we end our show. So normally
Sure.
we have 4 live shows on a weekly basis. We have Open Up, which is a live talk show about your personal journey. We usually have new guests every week, and that's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also have a weekly webinar, which is what we're doing right now, and that's on Saturdays from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we have Vili, which means I in English. It's a Tamil live talk show as well, pretty much sharing your own personal life journey. And that is every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for those who live outside of Canada. And we do have a monthly panel discussion that takes place in English and Tamil, and that's usually once a month. And we do also have a podcast called Open Up as well. You can participate in at your own convenience, and we also have the same Vili in Tamil, and that is available where podcasts are available. So we recently also started a monthly men's group meeting. And it's every third Sunday of every month from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our next one will be on Sunday, April 18th from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And so the topic will be announced at a later date. So please register and invite your friends to join us. So today at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are hosting an international youth panel discussion with youth on the topic, Are Our Teenagers Struggling? Let's listen and help them. There will be guests from Australia, England, and Canada, so be sure to register through our Facebook page and tune in tonight. And anyone is welcome to join. We're also looking for new members and volunteers to join us at Voice of Men 360. There are no limitation with gender, age, nationality, or ethnic groups. All walks of life can participate in any of our shows. If you want to be a guest on any of our shows or are willing to be a part of our organization and help us directly or indirectly, please reach out to us. We would love to work with individuals, professionals, experts, community organizations, associations, corporations, government officials, and businesses. And our phone number is 437-889-8329. And our email address is info@voiceofmen360.org. And our website is www.voiceofmen360.org. And you can also find us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're also on TikTok. And so please subscribe to our channel, our YouTube channel, Voice of Men 360. So we want to thank you very much for taking your time to be with us today. We wanted to thank our special guest as well. And we hope to see you next week.
Thank you so much for having me here today. It has been a pleasure, and so much of I hope all of you. I hope all of you had a satisfactory meeting today, and I hope I could answer some of your questions. Although it is such a broad subject, time is not enough. As I said, you also know that. So I thank
It is a
all
broad
of
subject. Thank you, though, because you really did try to cover as much as you could.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity again. And I wish all success to your future webinars and events that are coming up. As and when it is possible, definitely I'll try to join. Thank you so much. Now,